Morning, friend. We are gonna go do our first kind of big harvest today, and then we're gonna come inside and we're gonna cook it up. My sister invited me over to her house for dinner tonight, and she asked if I would make a couple sides, a veggie side, a pasta salad side, and she didn't ask for dessert, but I'm gonna make a dessert because I feel like making a rhubarb dessert because 'tis the season. So I just preheated the oven over there. I'm gonna preheat this oven as well, because we are gonna make roasted veggies in this oven, and then we're gonna make the dessert in that oven, and I need them at 2 different temperatures. So I've got a basket here, so let's go do our first real harvest. So this here is what we're gonna be harvesting, these humble cauliflower. This one's not quite ready. This one, even though it's really small, it's time to harvest it because the florets are starting to come apart, and you want to harvest it before it goes to flower. So I'm going to get the ones where the heads have started to come apart. This head is still a little bit tight, so maybe in the next couple days I'll have to get it, but I'll let it size up a little bit. This is a good example of one that needs to be harvested right now. So I've harvested most of them, but these down here, they have not started forming heads yet. So hopefully we'll get a better harvest off these ones. This is a different variety, and I planted them at a different time than I planted the ones I just harvested. When I planted these, the weather got in the high 80s, and I think that's why the heads are so small. Cauliflower and broccoli I have always had the hardest time with. I didn't even attempt to grow broccoli last year because it kind of does the same thing where I tend to get really small heads. I can show you over here, but I've grown better cauliflower than this, so hopefully these plants down here will do a little bit better. But I'm happy for the little humble harvest, and every year I will continue to try and grow a little bit bigger cauliflower if I can. So you can see these are my broccoli heads, and that needs to be harvested too. So hopefully what will happen is I will get some side shoots to form, and I can harvest some side shoots, because if this goes to flower, because broccoli and cauliflower, they are a flower, if the actual petals start to form, then it gets really bitter. So I'm gonna take that one too. So they're little, but little is better than none. So I'm really hoping for side shoots that I can harvest. So these are all the broccoli plants here. I'm also going to grab green onions, so I'm just going to take some of the green tops off these onion plants. It won't hurt them at all. I'm just going to go through different plants and grab some randomly. Humble harvest of the season that we are going to turn into a meal. So we need to get this cauliflower washed up, and when you grow cauliflower, it tends to attract a ton of bugs up inside the flowery head. So the best way I have found to wash cauliflower is to take the leaves off. I'll give these extra leaves to the chickens, and they will greatly enjoy them. But I do grow an organic garden, so there are definitely bugs and pests. That it's just part of the nature of gardening. It means that it's a good environment that they want to be in. It's a healthy, clean environment. I'm going to do the same thing I'm doing with the cauliflower to the broccoli. We're not going to have this broccoli today, but I might as well get it washed up. And then what you want to do is soak it in some salty water. So I'm going to fill this with water. and I'm gonna have that soak, and that will help draw out any bugs or anything that are in there. While I'm waiting for the cauliflower to soak for a little bit, we're gonna get going on the side. We're gonna make a Mexican street corn pasta salad and a cream cheese rhubarb bar. This is rhubarb from the last homestead. Over the weekend, I just planted my first rhubarb plants on this homestead, but it'll probably be 3 years or so before we get a harvest. So that's 5 cups of rhubarb and 3/4 cup of white sugar. And we are going to cook this for about 8 minutes until the rhubarb's nice and soft. And I'm not gonna add any water to it because this is frozen rhubarb. While we are waiting for our rhubarb to cook, we can make the cream cheese filling portion of this dessert. So we're gonna start with 2 blocks of cream cheese. One egg, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, a good glug of vanilla, and we're gonna cream this together until smooth. Now that the filling's done, we can get going on the cookie part and the crumble part. It's one and the same. So we need 3/4 cups brown sugar. And I'm gonna just go ahead and make some homemade brown sugar right now. To this, we're gonna add 1 3/4 cup flour, salt, oats, and 1 cup of butter. I'm gonna take my pastry knife and I'm just gonna break it a little bit before I put it into my bowl. Our rhubarb is nice and soft and cooked down, so I have some tapioca starch and some water. We're gonna thicken this up just a little bit. We're gonna cook this for just a minute longer. I'm gonna take half of our cookie mixture and put it in the bottom of this 9 by 13. I chose this one because it has a lid, because I'm taking this to my sister's. I thought it'd be nice just to be able to have a lid.
This is one of those really easy recipes that you can make in advance, and it comes together really simply. This recipe is made with rhubarb, but you could get creative and do blueberry or cherry or strawberry. Well, I don't know about strawberry. They might be a little too watery, but you could really kind of create whatever flavor profile you want, just depending on what fruit you use.
Before I put this rhubarb mixture on the cream cheese layer, I want it to cool a little bit, so I'm going to transfer it out of this hot pot just so that it can cool a little bit faster. I don't want it to melt the cream cheese layer if I put it on piping hot like this. I wish you could smell this. It is just incredible. cannot wait for that to come out of the oven. Now let's get going on the dressing for the pasta salad. What I'm doing for this street corn pasta salad is I am taking my cracked corn dip recipe and I'm turning that dip into a pasta salad basically. So we are going to start with 1 can of diced green chilies, which always smells so good. Now we're going to add mayonnaise. Sour cream, garlic powder, salt, pepper. We're going to mix that together. Cilantro, green onions. I've got a fresh jalapeno. I am gonna de-seed it because my nieces are gonna be eating this and I don't want it to be too spicy for them. I have frozen corn that I thawed and drained. If you wanted this to be a dip, you would stop right here. You would mix this cheese in with everything, and then you would chill it and serve it as a dip with chips or veggies or something like that. And it's absolutely delicious. But I'm trying to turn this into a side dish. So that's why I am going to add our pasta. And we're gonna make a street corn pasta dish. So this is the dip right here, and friend, let me tell you, this is so good. It's even good as a topping on tacos or burrito bowls or something like that. If you have, ooh, I'm dropping pasta. If you have leftovers from, say, a party or something like that, you can, if there are leftovers, because it's so good. Now, I've never turned this into a pasta salad before, so it might need a little bit more mayonnaise or sour cream to cover all the pasta. This is with store-bought frozen corn. I am completely out of all the corn that I preserved up last summer, and I cannot wait to get some more fresh corn in the freezer. I was just gonna blow on it. That's delicious. The sharp cheddar cheese in that, very good. I don't think it needs any more salt or pepper or mayonnaise or anything like that. This is going to sit in the refrigerator for a few hours. So before I serve it, I'll have to check it, give it a stir to see if the noodles absorb too much of the liquid or dressing, and if they do, I'll just put a little bit more mayonnaise or sour cream in there. But one dish done. I love these bowls that have this snap lid. I can link these down below if you're interested. It just makes for traveling with something like this really, really easy. And I'm gonna serve it in this bowl. So one and done. So now let's get going on the roast vegetable side dish. This is gonna be a cold salad too, so we do need to get it going so that it has time to chill in the refrigerator before dinner tonight. I don't have any homegrown carrots right now. I actually just planted the carrots this last weekend, so I have some really nice looking store-bought carrots. So I'm gonna get 2, 4, 6, 7, let's see, maybe 7 out, because that's probably gonna be a good ratio with the cauliflower. First thing I'm gonna do is top the tops and the ends of these carrots and get them peeled up, and then I will get these carrots washed. I already got the rest of the veg washed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roast the cauliflower and the carrots. And then we are going to chill them and add a ton of delicious herbs and a really yummy dressing. This was inspired by my sister-in-law. She made something similar to this. I'm kind of going off of what she texted me because she doesn't really follow recipes. She just cooks with her heart. And so when we had a dinner party, a couple months back, I had requested that she bring a veggie side, and this is what she brought, something similar to this. And so I said, I need the recipe. And so she kind of texted me what she did, and that is the inspiration for this side dish. And the fact that the cauliflower is coming in from the garden and I want to use it up. And I thought that this would be a great way to do it, to bring it over to my sister's house and kind of share in the abundance of the garden, the humble abundance of the garden. The chickens will enjoy these carrot peelings. I was pleasantly surprised there weren't too many creepy crawlies in the cauliflower. So now I'm going to get this cut into about bite-sized pieces.
I think there's a couple reasons why my cauliflower heads are so itty bitty teeny tiny. One of them I know is because I planted them out too late into the garden. Cauliflower is a cold weather crop. It likes to grow in the early spring and when the weather is much cooler. And by the time my beds were ready for me to plant my cauliflower out, it was already in the 80s. And so it was just too warm for them. Another reason is I definitely think that I have a nutrient deficiency in my beds. The first soil test that I did said that I had a lack of nitrogen, which is super important in gardening. And so I amended it with blood meal, which is what I was told to amend it with. And I don't think I amended it with enough. So I am amending all the beds with some more blood meal, and hopefully I will get a better harvest from some of the other crops we have out there. But gardening and soil building takes time, and this is the first year of this garden, and so it will take time to continually build the health of the soil in the beds.
I want these in about bite-sized pieces, pretty similar to the cauliflower. They're gonna basically be raw in the middle. They're just gonna be roasted enough to give a little bit more flavor and just a little bit more tenderness to them. But I don't want them mushy at all. And you know what? I think we'll do one more and that'll be it. I will cut these up and we'll snack on these later in the week. We are going to roast these veggies in a really hot oven to get some good caramelization on them. And then once they're caramelized but still crunchy, we'll take them out of the oven and turn them into a salad. But I am going to first put, before I put them in the oven, some salt, pepper, oil, and some garlic powder. We're going to toss those together really well, making sure everything is coated nicely. And then we are going to get them in the oven. So we are going to make a tahini dressing to go along with this, and it's going to be so delicious. I have made this recipe 3 times since we made it on this day because it's a salad that stores beautifully in the refrigerator. So you can prep it in advance and you can have a yummy salad ready whenever you want it, just sitting in your refrigerator for you. I do want some fresh elements to this salad as well. So what we're gonna do is just slice up a little bit of cilantro. I think I'm gonna do about half of this bunch, and then I'll save the rest of that for something else because we're gonna add a bunch more herbs in just a little bit. We're also gonna make the dressing for this salad while the veggies are in the oven. Here I have washed up some of our parsley from the garden. I have cilantro in the garden, it's just not ready to harvest yet. It's about yay tall. Get this parsley in here. I don't imagine the kids are gonna wanna eat this salad quite so much, so I am going to put some jalapeno, very thinly sliced. And I'm gonna keep the seeds in it. This is gonna be fresh, and it's just gonna add a nice little freshness. I'm trying to get these jalapenos as thin as possible. I'm gonna keep them in the rounds just so they have a little bit of a different texture to them. We're also gonna put some red onion. I think I'm only gonna do half this red onion. And I'm gonna do this is, let's see, I'm gonna cut it in half first. And then I'm gonna cut these as thin as possible as well. And I don't even think I'm gonna do that whole half of the onion. Okay, it's gonna go in there. And now all of our veggies and herbs are prepped. I might add some basil, but that's so tender from the garden, I don't wanna cut that up yet. But in here, we're gonna go ahead and make the dressing. The dressing that I'm gonna make for this is gonna be a chipotle, lemon, tahini type dressing. So I have the juice of 2 lemons going into our bowl. This is the bowl that I'm gonna serve the salad out of. And so I'm gonna make the dressing at the bottom of this bowl, so I'm not messing up another dish. I don't wanna put the herbs in the dressing yet because I don't want them to get all wilty. So to our lemon juice, I'm gonna add some chipotle powder, garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, cumin, and tahini. Tahini is sesame seed butter paste. I might add a little bit of honey, but I want to mix this in together and give it a taste test before I decide if I'm going to do that. Before I taste the dressing though, I can smell this, and our cream cheese rhubarb crisp bars are done. So I need to get this out of the oven so it can cool completely before we serve it for dessert tonight. So I'm not following a recipe with this. This is just throwing stuff in a bowl and giving it a taste test. Ooh. It's very bright from the lemon juice, very earthy from the tahini. It does need a few things, I think. We're not quite there yet. I think it needs a little bit more salt. I do think it needs about a pinch of honey or a spoonful. Let's try that and see if that gets us to where we need to be. You know, I think it could use a touch more cumin too, because I wasn't really tasting the cumin. Now we're gonna give it another try. When I'm making things up, my goal is to have a balance of sweet, heat, bitter, always contrasting flavors. Brightness with earthiness. Well, that's perfect. That little bit of honey, salt, perfect. It's not too sweet. I didn't want it to be too sweet. That's why I didn't want to add the honey at first, because the carrots obviously have some sweetness to them. But when in doubt, add a pinch of honey. Helps balance everything out. And I am tasting the chipotle and the cumin. So that is our dressing. And I think our carrots and our cauliflower is just about ready to be out of the oven. I do not want to overcook these vegetables. I want them to have a good amount of crunch to them still. I guess they could go for another couple minutes. I'm going to rotate them though. You know, the carrots might be done. That's why I wanted to do them on separate sheets, because I thought one veggie might get done before the other one. Yeah, those look done. I'm cleaning up the kitchen and I almost forgot to add the green onions from the garden. So I just got those chopped up into our bowl. I'm just gonna stick these herbs and onions in the fridge while I clean up my mess. That did not take long to get all of this stuff done. I guess we still are waiting for the cauliflower to come out of the oven. But I don't have to cook any dinner tonight, so I'm going to get this kitchen tidied up. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and make some sandwich bread for the week so that we can have some fresh bread for the week. Since I don't have to do any more cooking and I have a few more minutes that I can spend in the kitchen, I think I wanna get some sandwich bread made. This cauliflower is now perfectly cooked. I don't want it to cook any more than that. I'm going to turn the oven off, and now all the ovens are off. Before I tackle cleaning up the rest of this kitchen though, I want to get my yeast in my water so that can be sitting and getting active while I clean the kitchen. So I just have water, sugar. I can link this recipe down below. And yeast, and I'm gonna let that just get activated while I clean this kitchen.
I love when I can have multiple things going at one time, and my appliances or my cooking equipment or something like that can be working for me while I'm doing something else. And that's why I decided to go ahead and get this bread done on this day, because I could have the yeast rising while I clean the counter, and then while I finish the dishes up, I could have the bread kneading in my KitchenAid, and I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. That's why I always like to have my washer machine going for me if I'm in the kitchen, because I might as well have some laundry going or the dryer going or whatever it might be. The beauty of modern appliances is they can work for us while we're doing other tasks. And so I like to try to lean in on that and be as efficient as possible. Does it always happen? No, but that is kind of my goal. So my goal here is to finish getting this kitchen tidied up so that after we're done in the kitchen, we can sit down and relax, and then we can head over to my sister's house and enjoy a really nice time just hanging out with her and my parents and my nieces and the baby, and just be a family together. And I won't have to come home to a messy kitchen.
So our cauliflower has cooled quite a bit. So I am going to, this might be, I'm worried that's too much dressing for the veggies I have. So I think I'm gonna put the dressing into another bowl so I can dress it when I get there, just so we can make sure we put the proper amount of dressing in it.
I'm going to use the parchment paper to pick up the veggies and just get them right into this bowl. Like I said, this salad is so delicious. The veggies are still crunchy, but they've got that nice caramelization to them. All the fresh herbs, the earthiness from the tahini, the little bit of spice from the chipotle, and the brightness from the lemon. Absolutely delicious.
Now both salads are done, dessert is done, and I'm about to finish making bread for the week. I have that all packaged together so that when I get to my sister's house, I can just dump the dressing on, stir it up, and I'll serve it in that dish. I don't feel like bringing any fancier serving dishes for either of those, the corn pasta salad or street corn pasta salad or the roasted veggie salad, because it's just family and it's a really relaxed dinner tonight. My parents have been out of town for a while, so it's just good. We're just getting together to enjoy being a family. Our yeast is nice and bubbly, so I'm going to get the paddle attachment on. I'm gonna get 5.5 cups of bread flour. Salt. And some oil. Now we're gonna mix that, and I'll get the rest of the kitchen clean.
We are going to let this knead together for about 5 minutes or so. The beauty of electric appliance again is they can work for us while we're doing other things. I wanted to mention about those salads. So there was only 5 of us at my sister's house, and so clearly both of those salads that I brought plus the food that my sister made, it was a lot of food. And so I did not realize that this was Monday when I did this, that on this Monday, because I made so much of both those salads, I basically did meal prep for the week for Josh and I. So I did on Tuesday, I grilled up some chicken, and then we would have for lunch, we had some grilled chicken and some of the leftover cauliflower and carrot salad, and then for dinner we had some chicken and some of the pasta salad. And so it was really nice, not realizing that I was doing meal prep for the week. Plus I had this sandwich bread recipe. This is just a classic white sandwich bread recipe, and it is really, really good and really, really easy. It doesn't take hardly any time to whip it up at all. And I'm only going to bake one of them. The other one I am going to put into the freezer. Now, if you follow the recipe that I have linked down below, that recipe will make and bake the same day. The recipe where I tweak it to put into the freezer to bake on a different day, that recipe is not out yet, but that will be coming out soon.
Well, friend, those recipes were delicious. And we took it all over to my sister's house. We sat and enjoyed hanging out. I did have the rhubarb crisp cheesecake bar for breakfast, and I was able to give a bunch of the bar away, so we didn't take too much home, just enough for me to have breakfast the next day. And it was so good. So thank you so much for hanging out with me as we cooked up a bunch of food for a last minute party at my sister's house. What I'm gonna do right now actually is, it is food preservation season has officially begun. I am going to preserve up the rest of the rhubarb today. We are going to be making rhubarb juice, rhubarb sauce, rhubarb barbecue sauce, rhubarb baked oatmeal, and it's going to be a great day. So thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I don't take the fact that you take time out of your day to spend time with me for granted. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.